welcome to this, a book review. And today we will be discussing Queen of Deception by May Frater. Last year I ended up adding a load of different series to my TBR, thinking that they sounded really interesting, and never got round to any of them. So this year I've made it one of my missions to read the first book in all of the series, because there's no point a whole series being on my TBR if I don't like the first book. I could just wipe them off and fill my TBR with other books that I might like, because why not? But this caught me. I don't know how it caught me. I think I saw the cover somewhere, because the cover, wow. This is the cover. And I mean, the cover is rocking. Now, this is Queen of Deception. It is the first book in what is up to now a 4-book series called Empire of Shattered Crowns. And the blurb is this, because this sounded really interesting to me. If you were offered a second life, would you take it? Amelia died. She thought it was all over, but then she opens her eyes and realises she's a child with all the memories of her past life and her eidetic memory intact. Not just that, she's now living in a medieval world that resembles her favourite fantasy novel, The Cruel Empire. Instead of being a main character, she's reborn into the role of a princess fated to die before the age of 18. As years go by and she realises she's not waking from a dream, she settles into her new life with only a goal in mind: survival. Having years ahead of her before her new life is cut short, Amelia pulls the strings and builds a network of friends that will help her with her goal: stop Prince Thessian from killing her with the rest of her despicable family and make him her ally. If she can do this, she can rule to improve her kingdom's conditions and support Thessian's goal to become emperor of the neighbouring empire. But when a side character messes with the main plot, what will happen to Amelia's future now that she has no idea of what other events she has set in motion? You can see why it interested me. Suddenly waking up as a side character in your favourite fantasy novel, knowing the novel inside out, knowing the characters inside out, and being the sideline and able to know what is coming and what the plot's going to be. I don't know whether that would be a good thing or a bad thing. Let me know in the comments what your favourite fantasy novel is, and whether you would enjoy suddenly waking up as one of the characters in the book. Because this concept is interesting. However, and there is a however, it's an indie book, which is not the however, but it shocked me that it was an indie book, because the artwork on indie books is sometimes a lot better than the actual publisher house books. It's like a lot more time and effort has gone into them, and they're not just like a cash grab. But this, it's little, it's short, it's only 235 pages, so it is nice little. I think I finished this in one day. But there are things that I didn't like. There are things that I liked. I liked the setting, I liked the concept, the whole way, suddenly waking up as a character, as a child character in your favourite book, and having to grow in this world, especially when you already know the ins and outs, and can not only that, but you can remember everything from your past life. So say if I was sucked up right now, I would be able to remember filming for YouTube, mobile phones, social media, working, job, money, politics, the whole thing. And then to get dumped into a child's body in medieval fantasy world would be mind-blowing. And that's kind of what I expected. I expected my mind to be blown. It wasn't. It wasn't blown at all. Now, there might be some spoilers in this review, because it is only a little one, so if you are going to read this, watch this video afterwards. But this has been out for a few years. I wanted my mind to be blown. I was extremely interested in the concept. But let's get into why I just can't give it what I thought it could have got. So Amelia is our main character. She is the girl who died in our world and is now woken up in the mind of a child that is going to get killed on her 18th birthday. Except we don't get any of that. When we start this book, there's no prologue or anything to it, but we are chucked straight into... It feels like we're already in the middle of the story when this starts. Amelia is already in the tower. She's already of age. She is now, 18, 19, 20s, something like that. So all that her mind went into the mind of a child and she grew up, we don't get any of that, any of her integration into this world or her mental gymnastics that she would have had to go through to even adapt. We get none of that. We are just thrown in and she's in this tower and Prince Thessian is already a family and he is on the way up the tower to her. And she already has all these plans in motion without us. We've been left behind. We're coming in with the Prince Thessian, who even he knows more than we do. The concept reminded me of Lost in Austin, which I think that was what it was called. That did this really, really well. A woman from the modern age is swapped over with Elizabeth Bennet. I think they went through the shower in her bathroom, if I can remember rightly. And she ends up in Pride and Prejudice and going along the same type of journey that Elizabeth does, but of course she doesn't because she's got a modern mindset. And Elizabeth is in our world and I think she ends up working like in a nursery with children. That did it really well. It misses on so many levels because Amelia, this is her favourite fantasy novel. She has read it and read it and read it and reread it hundreds of times. And yet even before she changes events, then why is she still questioning what characters or people's motives are? Girl, you read the book. You should know, or at least have an inkling of who these people are. Especially at the beginning before you change anything. And yet it's like she doesn't. And we're just bobbing around. We have absolutely no idea what's going on. And everything is so simple and smooth sailing for what is going on. Her country is invaded. This guy has slaughtered her family. All of her family's supporters are dead or dying or have betrayed her. How I said that right now, that urgency, that passion, isn't in here. It just doesn't. Now, Prince Thessian is clearly our love interest, or one of the main ones, because I'll get there. But he is the middle son of the current emperor. There's an eldest son and a younger one, and it's the younger one that's, a bit of a dick, or being built up to be a bit of a dick. And Thessian it is obvious he is the main love interest. It is obvious from like his first few sentences. He has the whole melodramatic, tortured soul thing going on. Heartbroken by a previous love, so he throws himself into fighting and is blinkered to everything else that is going on. And it is so obvious. It's so glaringly obvious. It feels like the author reaches out from the pages and slaps it into you that he cares for Amelia. He's probably going to fall in love with her, but he cannot admit it even to himself. And Amelia, you get it that she feels the same, but she won't acknowledge it even to herself. And it is built up to be something so deep. But they've only had a few conversations together, they've only spent a few moments in each other's company, and that was to discuss business for the realm. Everything else is just thinking when they're apart from each other. So there's not even like longing looks across the table or, little glances at when somebody else is doing something. It's like they avoid each other at all costs, and then when they're alone think, Oh, yay. Don't do that, because I need at least a little bit of longing. Proper longing. Now, there is some wonderful witty banter in this, but it isn't between Amelia and Thessian, it's between Thessian and his best friend Lawrence. That is where the good banter is. And Lawrence is completely the opposite of Thessian. He likes to go out, do what he does, and he's a player, he knows he's a player, and he's the yin to Thessian's yang. It's fun, it's a fun time. And Amelia even thinks to herself that when she was reading the book, and the book's fans, because of this witty banter that these two characters have, Thessian and Lawrence, the fans and her, when she was living in our modern age, shipped them as a couple. It's got so much in it while having not much at all, because that is just, why would you even do that? And it's just, Thessian is supposed to be, he is this middle prince, he has been educated, he is intelligent, and yet his intelligence hinges on what Amelia tells him. So he can have friends or generals, allies that have been with him since childhood, and the minute Amelia says that they're a bit dodgy and they've got other motives, suddenly that's what he sees, like the blinkers are taken off, and he sees them for the dodgy characters that they are. Like, if you're so intelligent, dude, why didn't you see that before? It blows my mind. It's like, it annoys me. Did I like reading it? Yeah. It gets 2 stars because it's you can curl up with it, read it. It's a nice book. It just missed on so many things. It missed on the central plot of having her wake up in this world. We're even teased it in the blurb. As years go by, she realises she's not waking from a dream. She settles into her new life with only a goal in mind: survival. We don't even get to know that. That is all we get of her growing up and her past life. We don't get anything else. I mean, we might do in flashbacks in the other books, but they should have been in the first one. The writing is good. It's a debut, it's good, but it needs more meat on the bone. Everything these characters do jumps from one event to the next event with absolutely no breathing space in between them. I mean, these characters, they don't even sleep. There's mentions of sleep and they get an hour here and there, an hour a night, and then it is just go, 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 go. Event, 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 event. And you're like, Jesus, I am tired. I am tired trying to keep up with these lot. Just go to bed. And the events themselves are built up, happen, glossed over, done. Event, glossed over, done. And that is what it does for the whole of the book. When I finished it, I say finished, because this is my biggest point. It feels like the author wrote a fantasy book. A bigger one than this, a normal-sized fantasy book, and then decided that it would be better, or it would generate more money, or it would look better, because this is what all books are doing right now, which is having a series. It's all fantasy books are doing right now. You rarely get a fantasy book that stands on its own. So it feels like she's got this book that she's written and thought, it should be a series. I'll chop it there, 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 and there. Done. And that is why we get the sudden beginning being dropped in, because it feels like something is missing from the beginning of it. It feels like we've missed a whole prologue, a whole book is just missing from it. And the end, it just ends. And I know how contradictory that sounds, because an end is an end. But this ends like it's been chopped in the middle of something happening. It's just to be continued. There's no spoiler on this, by the way. But this is how it ends. This. Just to be continued. It just... and that's it. That is your lot. You have to go get the other book. That annoyed me. It doesn't even... So, like, at the beginning, it sort of builds up, and you have the event of the book. And then it sort of simmers down a bit to go into the next book. This one, you're up here, do-do-do-do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do-do, next book, do-do-do-do-do. My do-do-dos are so technical, but please tell me that you understand what I mean. It annoyed me. It annoyed me with that. It annoyed me that she's kind of... It's not that she's an unreliable narrator, but she has got so much plot armour that nothing bad is going to happen to her. Like, servants that have served her father for years, decades and everything are just suddenly on her side and able to be trusted and in her corner. And then suddenly, if she has an idea, it's not that she has to go seek these people out. It's like plot armour because she's already besties with them. So why didn't you think of that before? For one, there's an assassin's guild that comes to kill her, and because she decides that she is going to fight for her life, but says something along the lines of that, if I'm going down, I'm taking you with me, Bal. Suddenly, he pledges allegiance to her. And it all happens in like 200 pages. It's a lot while not being much. Am I going to continue with this series? I don't know. I have other books to read. I have other series to start that I am more interested in than continuing with this, even when it just cut off at the end. I just can't find myself to care. Which sounds really, really harsh. But I just can't. And you know from some of my videos on this channel, we take the rough with the smooth. You can get 5 stars and I will be so giddy. But you get the real ones too. Not that they aren't real, but the less than perfect books on this channel. Is this perfect? No. Does it have the potential to be? Yes. I think it would be interesting to revisit this series when I've gone through a few more of the books that I already have, and probably next year to see if the writing gets better as we go along. But right now, I'm not going to continue with it. But let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section below, and don't forget to click that like button, and remember to subscribe if you want to get more videos on this channel.
Soft embrace, dark star sips with calm and grace. Wine flows like whispers, secrets told in the night where dreams unfold.